So today, I spent some time figuring out my progressions. I've really had a hard time wrestling with how to make sure I'm pushing myself more every week. But like I've said in the past, I used to, when I'd done volume training, I used to just constantly add way too many sets and way too many reps until I'd, you know, hit fatigue. And then I'd train through it and get hurt because I was just stupid. I used to and still do idolize Ronnie Coleman, but I tried to be more mature about how I idolize him now. I more so look at him as a beacon of hope for anything is possible. You can do it. You can work hard. I don't look at it as like I should train like him. When I was a kid, I used to think I need to train like him. Learn to get away from that one, and then I started doing DC training, which is Dante Trudell's failure method. It's like 3.0 version of Heavy Duty by Mike Menser. Mike Menser is, I don't do that shit. That shit's crazy. It's just not my thing. But I did the Dorian Yates training method for a while when I was in high school. And then I started following the Dante Trudell method when I was in college. And that's when I saw the most progress. And the reason why I think was it forced you to meet a goalpost standard of reps or volume before you added workload, before you added weight to the bar. My issue with that was I would add too much weight to the bar. You know, if the goal was to get this set from 10 to 15 reps total, I'd get to 15 and I wouldn't follow the rules. It was like add a couple pounds, but it wasn't a very clear rule. It was like just add what feels right. Well, you tell an idiot like me, add what feels right. I'm going to be like, oh yeah, add a fucking plate. That's a great idea. There's a reason why there's small plates at the gym, okay? And I'm trying to remind myself that. So progression, and this is what failure training is all about. If you've only done 20, doing 21 is a new stimulus. That's what's going to make you grow. If you've only done 100 pounds, 105 pounds is a new stimulus. You will grow. I learned that when I trained with Jordan Peters as well, but I still was just too immature for the coaches I had at the time. So it took years of making mistakes on my own before I really heeded what these people were trying to teach me in the beginning. Is just a little bit more is enough. And I tell younger kids that all the time, but I had rarely ever heeded my own advice. So I'm trying to do it now before I get any injuries, before I get any older. I'm trying to just do it the right way for once. So Mike Israel has had a massive influence on my training methodology and mindset for a long time, but very little influence on my own training. I'd use that influence on my clients, and my clients would make tremendous progress, but rarely would I ever implement it for myself. So next week, on the exercises that I know I felt strong based on my logbook, I'm going to add 5 pounds, just a 2.5 pound plate per each side. And that'll be my progression. The sets or exercises where I didn't feel super strong and it kind of felt tough, I'm going to try to get one more rep. And essentially what I'm going to do is try to build up on these exercises, either by 5 pounds until it feels like I'm training to failure, or doing reps and adding 1 rep a week until it feels like I'm hitting failure. And then I'll just pull back a little bit and do a gentle deload. I'm not going to take like a whole week off unless I feel beat to shit. But I'll take some weight off the bar. I'll take some sets out of the training session and just kind of chillax. I'm going to try to keep everything around 3 sets. Beyond that, I definitely feel like I'm just beating my head against a wall. And this has been my first week. I call it phase 0 because I'm trying to get my bearings before I really start to get headed in a certain direction and actually know where I'm going before I get there. So today is leg day. And let me click on my little sheet so I can go over it for you guys. All right. So I put everything on a spreadsheet and then I put it on my phone so I can logbook it and keep it with me mobily. I do that with all my clients as well. So today I'm reading over your shoulder basically. I got some dumbbell hammer curls. I do a lot of hammer curl or straight bar curl. I've tried cables. I've tried preachers. I've tried everything. Only dumbbell and straight bar curls do I ever feel my biceps. I can't feel preachers or anything. They all just go straight to the forearm. It's just what my body feels. And I know where you feel it isn't that big of a deal, especially if you're talking to Mike Israel. They're very big on like, well, what you feel doesn't matter. It's about the science. Well, I'm only going to follow so much science. A part of this, my heart needs to be in it for me to enjoy it. And if I don't love it, I'm not going to do it. So I want to feel it in the muscle I'm training. So I'm going to do dumbbell hammer curls today to actually target my biceps and my forearms intentionally and not forearms on accident. So I want to build like really thick Phil Heath forearms. So I'm really trying to build the brachioradialis here, that muscle. So I'm trying to get it nice and thick, and I want it to just be like a fucking mountain here. So we're going to do some hammer curls with the dumbbells. I sneak in arms 3 days a week. On both my leg days, I start off with bicep curls. I learned that from DC training. It kind of gets me in the mood for training, gets me moving, something easy. And then I slowly just get into the workout. And then after one of my upper body days, usually the Thursday upper body day, my second day of the week, I do some bicep curls. And the reason why I do bicep curls on that day is because I don't have leg day right after that, right? My training cycle is Monday upper body, Tuesday legs. So if I do biceps on both my upper body day and my leg day, I don't actually get a day off. And we know, based on science, that's not a good idea. And based on our own anecdotal evidence, you feel super beat up. You have a good day. So we're trying to mix the science with the bro, right? We're trying to make everything just feel right. After the bicep curls are done, we're going to go into the Smith machine squats. I can't barbell squat twice a week. It's just too like fatiguing, right? And Mike Israel would say fatigue, stimulus to fatigue ratio. For me, really dumb, simple way to say it is it makes my back tired. I deadlift once a week, I do RDLs once a week, and I barbell squat once a week. That's enough lower back shit. Along with barbell rows and landmine rows, there's 5 back exercises that use my lower back. If I can get a break on one day to just train only quads and not have to feel anything else, it's going to be today. Smith squat. Next, after that, we're going to do a hip press. It's very similar to the leg press. It's just a slight variation, and it's really just for variation's sake to remove redundancy, just to make one leg day feel completely unique from the other, but they both follow the same script. Biceps, quad compound, quad isolation. So after our hip press, we're going to smash some leg extensions. We're going to go to failure on those. And we're just going to try and keep getting more reps on those over the weeks. And then once we hit some absurd amount of reps, we'll add some weight. But for now, I like reps on isolation movements. Adding weight to isolation movements, I know especially from DC training and training with Jordan Peters, my knees just hurt like shit from leg extensions if I just keep adding weight to them. So we're just going to add reps and just focus on cramming blood into the muscle and make my legs feel like fucking bratwursts, right? About to burst out of their casing. Essentially there, all our big quad compound movements are done. We're going to go into an RDL today instead of a hip thrust. I don't do glutes twice a week. I just do them once. So I hit RDLs to get the stretch component of the hamstring, and they technically work, glutes anyways. So, and it's technically another day to deadlift. So RDLs, we're going to do like 3 sets of 10 to 12, and we'll slowly add load to that as we go. And then if we feel like we've gotten to a heavy weight, we don't want to keep adding weight, we're not ready, we'll add reps. Or sets. We'll just kind of play it by ear. And then next is the seated ham curl. Just to finish off the hamstrings, we're going to do an isolation movement, shove some blood in there just like we do with our quads. And then basically legs are cooked. Legs are done. We're going to hit an adductor machine at the end. I had a physical therapist evaluate me, and he basically is telling me my internal rotators are weak and my glutes are weak. So I'm going to do my adductor exercises. Legs are done by then. Completely finished. Got every single piece of it done that I wanted. And then I have to do my calf rehab exercise, which I'm working on isometric loading on the calves. I'm not even into isotonics yet, so I'm just holding the squeeze to try and build some loading characteristics back into my Achilles tendon. It's like transitioning from hypertrophy training to powerlifting. You don't make a very quick transitions. Muscles, bones, everything in your body needs time to adapt. So I'm slowly adapting my Achilles tendon to holding load again because I still compensate with my right leg. So we're slowly getting it back. And then my glute exercises. I have very, very weak glute medius, which are the upper outer part of the glute. So glute max is down here, and that one's well developed and strong for me. But my glute medius up here, they're weak, which is why I have back problems and hip issues. And then also, if I'm looking at myself from a bodybuilding perspective, my glutes literally disappear near my waist. I have like this low ass, and then like there's nothing at the top. And I know it's not because I'm half Filipino. It's because I don't use my glutes. So we're doing some glute activation exercises, slowly building volume on those to develop my muscle connection with it and building some muscle thickness to try and help alleviate any back and hip issues that I have developed and try and prevent them from getting any worse as I get older. And that's our leg day. So we got science, we got bro shit that makes us happy, makes us love working out, that connects us to our childhood where we idolize Ronnie Coleman. And then we get some true, real physical therapy, rehab type crap to just make sure we're healthy and feels good, And And I always stretch after my workouts. I don't include it in the videos, but I do stretch. You need to stay flexible if you want to be able to hit a full range of motion and not compromise technique or risk injury. I also feel like my body can handle more training for a longer period of time before needing a deload if I actually stretch. If I completely neglect stretching, my recovery reduces. It's a part of recovery. Stretch when you're done training, stretch between training sessions. Stay mobile. You really need to stay flexible because I'm a very firm believer tight muscles are weak muscles unless you're a power lifter. Flexible muscles, they're explosive. They can do a lot more. They're a lot more capable. They can handle loading better, and they're at a lower risk for injury, I believe. That's how I think. It's my hypothesis. I'm no fucking scientist when it comes to the body. But I do have a physics degree, so I am a bit of a scientist myself. All right, guys. The pre-workout is clearly hitting. If you guys are wondering what the hell I'm rolling on, Derek's More Plate, More Dates, Gorilla Mode. We got this in the bloodstream. We got Kratom from my buddy who owns a Kratom company, Kratom Aid. I will link it in the description if I remember to. If you're under 18, obviously don't use that shit. It's illegal in some countries and some states and some counties. So be aware of your local laws. But stuff's great. And then creatine, electrolytes, and I am almost to 2 gallons of water a day. I'm at 1.34, 1.75 gallons for the day. So let's get fucking huge, y'all. Let's build this behemoth because we're nowhere near a behemoth yet. We're just a small man. We're but a small man. All right, so pre-leg day, quad flex. Let's see if we can get the hamstrings to drop. Yep. We got some glute separation coming in on both sides. Looking good. Didn't even need OnlyFans to see this shit. All right, so we're going to ride the bike for a few minutes, get the blood flowing. We've already been active and on our feet all day. I went fishing for 6 hours. But now it's time to get the shit done. Let's go fulfill our dreams. Bodybuilding. Oh. But I'm trying to do a lot better to get quality reps. I have a bad habit of just trying to throw weight around. So trying to set a better example. Yeah, we'll call it there. And we got 2 more sets of that, and then leg day begins. Did you bring a meal?
Me? No.
No?
Oh, wait, no, I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What'd you bring?
Rice and ground beef.
Right. Well, Luis is mic'd up today, so he's the homie behind the camera. He finally got here. I was talking shit about you earlier, but didn't know it was because your grandparents were in town, so my bad. No, so what were you asking? How'd I hurt it?
Yeah.
So yeah, my inner thigh, my right leg is weaker. So I was saying how I used to train like Ronnie Coleman, or wannabe. I had a coach who was a pro bodybuilder, and he wrote me a training plan. It was actually Nick Trigili, and he sent me the training plan. It was like 3 sets of 8 on everything. And my leg day was squat, front squat, leg press, lunges, RDLs, and hamstring curls. Now, if you just write someone a workout and says 3 sets of 8 on every exercise, everyone's going to interpret it differently. I was inspired by Ronnie Coleman, so I thought every set was to failure. And maybe 2 weeks, I got away with it. And then the 3rd week, when I was doing the weighted lunges, so I finished all those other exercises, training to absolute failure, probably training with shit technique. And I literally had the 45-pound dumbbells for a lunge, and I went down. And right when I got down here, it popped. It literally just went like pop. And I was like, oh, fuck. And like for the next day or so, I was working at the store, and like I couldn't squat down and stand up without pain. So I hurt my adductor doing that, or my gracilis muscle. They're all the same shit. And then I did a split squat on the Smith machine. Same shit. It was on my way down, and I popped something on my inner thigh. So when you injure a muscle, and if you don't rehab it, it'll kind of forget how to function. And then all the other muscles will compensate to make up for the weakness. And if you don't rehab it properly, it'll stay weak until you get hurt again. So that's how you turn a minor injury into a chronic one that leads to a major injury. So like when people get like knee pain, they don't train it, they don't stretch it, they don't try to fix the problem, they just try to like bulldoze through it. Or they'll take 2 weeks off until the pain goes away. and they don't actually fix the problem, and they try to push themselves again, and that's usually when you tear something. So my physical therapist was telling me how people train harder, and they'll take a break because they hurt, and they'll go right back to going 100% before their break. Well, I think he said in like just 2 weeks, you lose 25% of your ability to load the muscle because the muscle's untrained. As soon as you start lifting, your muscle strength comes right back. It's just from a lack of practice. That's why I was telling you with your deadlift, take next week easy. You won't feel super strong, but we'll intentionally use less reps. And it'll be like starting with a running start. So that way you can build your reps up, and once you're reacclimated to lifting the weight, after the first week or two, you'll start making progress you hadn't made before. So those people who are dumb, myself, will take a break and we'll come right back. We're like, all right, 500 pounds on the squat. If you're lucky, you'll survive, but you keep doing it repeatedly, that's when shit breaks. And Luis thought it'd be a good idea to record me talking because I talk so much between sets. Also because we're waiting on the one machine I need right now. And can't start a leg day.
How do you strengthen your adductors?
So if you're injured, you need to do some light rehab work. You need to work on squeezing the muscle and then slowly loading it. If you haven't injured it and maybe it's just giving you some injury, like pain, then you need to do light loading. You don't need to completely unload it. You do light loading and learn to re-engage the muscle. So I'm gonna start doing adductors, and I'm gonna do a lighter weight, higher reps, and really focusing on engaging the muscle so I can feel it engage properly. It's just all about being careful and treating everything with intention. If you like rush through weights and sets, and that's when you fuck shit up. I'm gonna kick this kid off the machine. It's fucking annoying. All right, so we're talking to Luis about building up, mostly just talking about what I've done, because he's a young man and he'll hopefully not make the mistakes I did. So last cycle of training, we were training to failure and we were getting 315 for like only sets of 15. So we're gonna go down 40 pounds and we're gonna try and do this for multiple sets of 10 to 12. And we're gonna really focus on driving with the quads, moving at a good pace to get a sick pump. It's our first leg exercise. So through the power of Scarface, no tears. If you haven't seen the movie Office Space from the 90s, watch it, it's fucking hilarious. All right, shoulder width stance, let the knees go over the toes, feel the stretch in the quads, drive through. All right, so that's pretty tough. I don't know if we'll get 3 sets of 12, but we're gonna try and keep at least 1 rep in the tank, and we'll slowly add volume each week. And just speak up, because the fan will blow air on your mic.
How should we position ourselves on the split machine when we do squats?
Yeah, so it's not like a barbell squat where I have to worry about balancing the weight over my toes. On here, you can see me kind of sitting back more so I can drive with the quads. So I try to put my feet right under me so I get an extreme stretch on the quad. But because of the length of my femurs, my natural barbell squat is a low bar. That's how I keep the weight over my ankles. So I have to sit back to get more quad involvement. So using a Smith allows me to do that. On a hack squat, my hips can't sit back because of the back pad. So I have to squat very exaggerated on the hack squat. And for me, it makes my knees hurt a lot. So here, it's closer to a hack squat, but it requires less technique training than a regular barbell squat. And I can really just focus on only training the quads and just moving a weight. So I had to put my feet lower on here to get more quad. It didn't feel like no matter how close or far I wasn't getting quad. So it's the first week of phase 0. So, we're finding all our positioning and we're noting it in our logbook. Those annihilated my quads. The soreness set in later. So I actually had to take a whole plate off just to make sure I'm getting the muscles trained and not my ego, which I'm great at training my ego. So I'm really going to try and focus on the stretch of the quad, pushing through the toe. All right. Muscles. Training muscles. Oh, shit. Yeah, so that felt really fucking good. So we're just going to get 2 more sets at 12. And then, next time when we progress, I think I'd like to get this up to sets of 15 before I add weight. But let's check out the puck. Let's look at it real quick. All right, we got 3 sets to failure here, just like the other leg day. I'm just chasing the feeling. Oh, all right. So no idea what we'll get, but we're gonna use the weight we know we can do a lot of with. Fuck. Fuck. All right, you got 2 more of those. Fuck me. So I had to do some stretches for quads because after the leg extensions, my quads were so pumped I couldn't keep my knees stable for the RDLs. So we're gonna try and do these now. I feel wobbly as fuck, but we just got 2 more sets of 12 left. Ham curls and adductors, and we are done with the tough shit. So here we go. Always keep your lats back on these. It's easy to forget that this is also a full body exercise. Just keep them locked in. You get deep in the stretch. Once you feel the hamstring stretched, right back up. You don't want your back to round. Holy fuck. I need to wear straps because this is killing my forearms, but might get some gains out of it. But we got like no room left for blood. How's that hamstring drop looking? Nuts? Ah, fucking hell. All right, 1 set left. Life is a cruel bitch. But, huh? Karma might be my stripper name, honestly. It would be. That would be very fitting, honestly. All right, so we got held up because I was talking to some youth, which is always fun, trying to teach some ding-dongs how to pose. I don't think any of it stuck, but maybe something stuck. We got 3 sets to failure on the hamstring curls with moderately heavy weight. So what I like about the seated hamstring curls, you get more of a stretch because the hip's already in an extended position or a flex position, just like you're already doing the RDL, versus the lying hamstring curl, the top half of your hamstring, because your hips are extended from the front and not flexed, the hamstring's shortened. So with it being in a lengthened position here, we're going to take advantage of the scientific principle of lengthened hypertrophy, strength-mediated fucking stretch bullshit. I fucking like seated hamstring curls. Go fuck yourself. All right. Squeeze and let it out. And we're going to fucking repeat this shit until we can't. Under control. Big squeeze. Ah. Nice to have you back. You have a good night. Ugh. Ugh. Fuck. Yes. Oh. All right, we got a 1 minute rest period. We're gonna go again. Just repeat, 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 and then little adductor bullshit and some rehab work for the physical therapist. Oh, I'm just gonna sit here and finish this. Oh. All right, just getting our odds and ends in. So we got abs. I really like doing these. I feel like they're the only ab exercise where I really feel everything. If you have one of these, awesome. If you don't, then sorry. I've tried everything, and this is the only one I like. So keep your core tight. You're gonna relax back and let it stretch. And then you're just gonna curl your rib cage towards your toes, like you're doing a really crappy toe touch. So yeah, the abs are just meant to curl the shoulders towards the pelvis and stabilize the spine, resisting, weight, and then pushing against it. So I think this is the best way to use your body weight against yourself to train abs.
How should you pose with your legs in the
Yeah,
correct
so I was
form?
telling those youth earlier, I didn't want to record children on a camera. No, I'm just kidding. So a lot of people, I'll pose wrong. Really lazy is what I call it. You'll see a lot of people just kind of either not know where to put their feet, they'll stick their waist out, and they'll lean their shoulders back. And a lot of the reason why is they're trying to worry about getting light on their abdominals, and they're trying to show their abs off. But then the rest of their physique looks really goofy. I don't have a great physique just standing still. I have to pose to present it well. So gradually over time, I've learned and watched. You always want to point your feet in opposite directions. And the reason is because your quads are always going to flare more when they're pointed out. There are extremes, and you don't want to plie like a ballerina, but you don't want to be duck-footed or pigeon-toed, where your quads don't show anything. You want to find a happy medium. So if we're looking at a clock right here, we're pointing at 12. What we're going to do, and it's a contrapposto, I believe is the term with sculptors. It's from the Renaissance period. It's creating symmetry through asymmetry. So if you ever look at some common posers who are known well for their symmetry, his name eludes me, but his nickname was the Sultan of Symmetry. Look at his poses. They were never actually symmetrical. He always offset himself. So if I have weaknesses like every other human being does, what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to hide them. I'm going to point my right foot at 2 o'clock. I'm going to set 80% of my weight on this foot because it's my good leg. Then I'm going to turn my offset leg away and gently place it, and we're going to point it at 10 o'clock relatively. Now you got to be careful here. You don't want to keep your waist pointed forward because now I just look goofy. We want to offset the weight, and then we look like the weight is shifting. It looks natural, like I could be posing, talking, leaning on a counter. That natural symmetry, asymmetry, offset weight looks natural. That's the concept behind contrapposto posing. So from here, we want to point our pelvis about 1 o'clock. So this twisting, all these twisting angles in the physique are allowing us to create a flow through our physique. Then from here, we want to keep our waist pointed and our knees out. So now we have flaring quads and a tapering waist. And instead of looking off in the distance, we're gonna turn our shoulders and pull our waist in. So if I were just to stand here naturally, obviously I'm posed, but if I were a mannequin, my waist would look slimmer. I'm gonna pull them up to hide the water, the bloat, and the shoulder's gonna be more accentuated. So that gentle offset in weight and a twist in the hips is really the base of all poses that are supposed to be, just classic. And then you'll see the guys on YouTube or Instagram, they're gonna point to the sky and they're gonna lean back. And all they're doing is creating flows. They're creating movement in their physique. I'm not super symmetrical, so if I'm to pose straight on and do a front double bicep, immediately all my weaknesses are gonna show. So if I were to hide them, and I can, we're gonna offset the weight, we're gonna flare the quads, we're gonna twist the waist, and then twist the shoulders back, picking up the elbows and flaring the lats. So now my lats are gonna flare, I'm gonna pull in my waist, it's gonna taper at the middle, and the quads are gonna flare. We're gonna push out the floor, and then boom. Right there, you'll see a lot of guys twist. They're gonna hit their victory pose. There's some poses you just can't get away from it though. So if you're gonna do like an ab and thigh, you're gonna get a vacuum, and you'll always see the guys turn to the side and flex the obliques. People, if you pay attention, are always gonna find ways to hide things. So if I have a wider waist, I'm gonna bring my forearms up and I'm gonna cover my lower ab region so you don't see my midsection. And then if you have biceps that are short, you're not gonna wanna turn them up because then you're gonna have a gap in your arms. So either you're gonna have to pull your elbows higher and now my waist is showing, or we can find ways to turn our forearms so that now they fill the gap and we can start filling holes in our physique. Now, if you're just small, you're gonna have holes in your physique everywhere because you're just not hiding anything. But as you get more and more muscular, you're gonna have ways of filling those holes and then hiding the physique. And then from there, it's about learning your angles, learning how to offset your weight and look natural. Cedric McMillan was really good at creating statuesque posing. He just always flow, he was very gentle. The guy was like a fucking just butterfly. For a big man, you'll see a lot of the guys just hard pose, and they look big and rigid, and all they're doing is playing to their strengths of mass and size, and that's cool. But I think that's what's lost in the art of posing for bodybuilders, is they've just gotten so fucking jacked. There's no real flow to it. Now, I'm no critic because my posing at my first show was absolute dog shit, but Wesley Vissers is a great example. He's kind of bringing back that classic art of posing and really making it look good at his level. But if you're gonna learn anything from posing, generally it's gonna be flare the quads, twist the waist, and twist the shoulders. You're always just gonna wanna offset yourself. Otherwise, if you just stand there awkwardly, go look at yourself in your family photos. You always look goofy, right? So, you offset the waist, put your hand on the waist, soft smile, and now you look bigger than everyone else in the photo and you don't look like a douche.